Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Gary Palmer Jr.ETH. You're you. Together we are minting coins, and we're talking about a lot of different things because not only are we minting coins, but Amazon is going to be minting coins too. I don't know if you guys heard that we have the Amazon NFT initiatives coming out. We have ENS builders and public goods round 5 projects, small grant builders, and yeah, they're going to be minting coins with that. Maybe take a peek at some of those projects, and maybe talking about real quick, giving you guys the links where you can get some test Ethereum, some test Matic. Doesn't hurt to get some of that in your wallet. But before we get into all that, we have some people to talk about all that good stuff with, and yeah, Coree.ETH, how you doing? Coree.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay. I hear you now.
I gotta leave my screen on. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, cool.
Programming, I'm writing code right now.
Very cool. And writing code right now. And who are you? And what do you do in Web3? What do you do in ENS? Or just give a little bit about you.
I'm Coree. Coree.ETH. I'm on Twitter as Coree_ETH. I'm an engineer. I'm an ENS delegate. I think I'm top 20 now, so that's kind of cool. I'm a builder in Web3, I'd say.
Very cool. I would absolutely say you're a builder, and you're also definitely a top ENS delegate. Yeah, Coree.ETH, and you have a Grail ENS name too. Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, man, good. Coree's great. Four letter first name. I'm envious.
I'll tell a short story. I bought it real short. I bought it on well, I guess I just renewed it, but I had it. This was last like 2 Aprils ago. And I had just quit my job, and I was like, well, I want to work on Ethereum. I need to make a name for myself, be a public person, talk in public, have a Twitter account. Okay, having a .eth makes a lot of sense, and I'll put it on my .twitter. And it's like $150, right, for the 4-letter one. At the time I had 6, 10, 12 followers. And I watched it go. I wish you could see my face, but I kind of look ugly right now. The old expiring auction, basically, when it goes from $2,000, and it used to be a linear cooldown from a 2K USD renewal price over a while, 30 days plus or something. And I watched it go down the whole time. I was so cheap. I would have just snagged it at 2K now, no question. But yeah, and then I renewed it for $150. I put it on my Twitter, and that helped me get from 10 followers to 100 followers. And then, rest is history. Love my ENS. Love firstname.ens. It's what my mom named me, and so I'm going to stick with it.
Well, congrats with that. And speaking of the names our mama gave us, Novax.
But I like that story, Coree, of how you swoop that Coree.ETH. That's excellent. I've been playing a little bit of premium game recently and just watching those. It's crazy how it's great stuff coming from premiums, names and digits and all kinds of stuff. So I'm Novax.ETH. I'm a lover of ENS, man. I'm an addict. I'm brokering ENS at this moment and on the acquisitions and buy and sell side. And so that's become a really cool exercise, for me to sort of put myself in the position of a buyer and of a seller, and to participate in the price discovery in a, with more intention and more short-term objectives. So I think that this is a necessary service. providing kind of education to buyers and brands and entities that may wish to have their domains, and providing more realistic valuations for people who may have registered a lot of stuff that might not be as valuable as we thought. So it's a good place to be in right now. Just realism in the market.
Yeah. So you're doing brokering now.
Yes.
And that's in like what do we call it? A competitor to the 00 group?
Well, I sort of think of brokerage like the best models that we have would be like real estate brokerage, perhaps, or investment brokerage. And so like competition is certainly there for people looking for share and just market share. I can't really play the quantity game. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just one guy. So for me, it's really about quality. So like the domains that I represent, I take them on like very exclusively. So I don't want to kind of share the representation, and I don't want my sellers to have them listed while I'm hunting buyers for them. And I want to keep the list kind of small. So for me, I kind of see it as like there's lots of grails. Really, there are several tens of thousands of really truly premium domains in my view. And so I think there's enough, to go around. And I hope that I can work kind of in tandem with a lot of those kind of partnership outlets, and hopefully help in promotion, with them. So like my hope is for like all the different kind of ENS resellers and collectors and brokers to sort of find ways to really partner together. But yeah, no, I think there's definitely elements of competition between all of us too.
Yeah, well, I mean, more people in the market, more people doing outreach to, the Web 2 businesses, the Web 0 businesses, in not just being a broker, but providing those consultations, the reoccurring sort of consults with not just brokering a single domain name, but understanding what are all the different names that are mintable that we should secure. What is the Web3 strategy? What is the landscape? What are some strategies that that we could do to get involved or get started and start building reputation instead of just coming in as cash grab. So, there's a lot of, and then that can extend in the potentially content creation services or, code creation services or, something in between or adjacent. But the point is that, man, there's a lot to, when you're a broker, like a broker's a way that you can get in the door. There's a whole lot more that, all of the Web3 professionals can do beyond whatever the one thing is that they do to break into the door.
Well, you really impressed me yesterday with you and Otto. You're talking just briefly mentioning kind of, it put Hyperwave in the right context where that conversation kind of went, yes, speaking to and with the brands from the perspective of consultant to provide enduring value and not just like a transactional brokerage relationship that we typically think of. So yeah, I'm really excited about that part of it. And I think it takes a little more planning and building and intention. So, I have some domains that would be so great for using to do that. And so I'm really geared up to kind of like plant the flag and just begin building as it is now. There's a little bit of receptivity on that post I put out saying, hey, if you have really quality domains, you're looking to move them for premium prices, let me know. My network of potential buyers is definitely growing. And then so there's some good receptivity there. But then when I go to the end buyer side, when I'm contacting, potential end buyers, it's a really different sort of engagement. Like frequently you're not going to get much. You have to be really thoughtful and have an in. And in many cases, what I've identified can be a good in if you're trying to reach perhaps a reseller or a VC or say somebody with money who has vision. We have an opportunity with .eth right now in this early stage for somebody with serious capital to come in and secure a whole industry. And that's interesting. Imagine, for example, there's a deal I'm working on with some of the big transportation leaders. I have my clients of Lyft, Uber, and Ride. that's a bag of three. And I'm looking for a buyer who's willing to come with serious hundreds of thousands of dollars to secure up the whole bag and own the future of, and just build on ride, but exclude Uber and Lyft from even penetrating the market by owning their property. Now that's a potentially controversial thing to say, but for a competitor out there who knows what building and business is about, that's an opportunity, and it's one that could, have a pretty high price tag. Oh, you're muted, Gary.
Well, you got to be able to break into those conversations, and you got to, be able to do it with some finesse, because most companies, aren't interested necessarily in the ENS angle and owning their name or the brand angle. They usually need to come in from some other, user story. That probably has something in line with whatever their goals are. And there's just a lot of depth and breadth, and it takes a lot of finesse, and you got the finesse, and depending on the situation, right, you got the finesse, and depending on the situation, I got the finesse, and yeah, we're just finessing it. So just real quick, if you're here, like this video, feel free to comment. Check us out at web3domains.com. Check us out at mintingcoins.com. Become a member. Support us at what we're doing at web3domains and mintingcoins.com. Get access to members-only videos and some inside information. Because that's what we're doing. This is the content we're creating. And, if I'm going to take money and create content, I'd rather, make that be from the audience who receives value from the information that we're sharing, instead of, having the majority coming from advertisers or some, centralized interest. I'd rather have it come from, many, many people that support, the work that we're doing as we're figuring out how to create better and better content. Bring people good information so they can bust open these doors, so they can understand what the hell is going on, because a lot of people are trying to figure it out. And, I don't know if you guys remember, like whenever you guys got involved, but whenever you get involved, you're just trying to get the lay of the land. And you're just trying to figure out, what is going on? What is this culture? What is this code? What is this technology? Do they need content creators? Do they need digital marketers? Do they need HR managers? Do they need lawyers? They need all of it. Right, and people got to figure it out. What do you think, Corey? Do you agree with that? When people are just getting involved, right? Like, depending on what they're, not everybody is a artist, NFT artist, or a coder.
I think everybody finds a narrative that brings them in, and they need people to look out for them and make sure they don't sign bad wallet requests. They learn the good habits, and they can start learning the ins and outs of the protocols. And in the case of ENS, what does it mean to have a reverse ENS? What is a resolver? But you can't get there until you have some level of comfort that you're not going to wake up with nothing in your wallet.
Yeah, and that's coming from the consumer side, and then there's also the business side. And
I think the business has the same challenges. I mean, one of the reasons businesses don't get into crypto is because how are they going to manage a private key? How do they defend the private key from internal espionage, per se? And so a lot of them are reticent. I've talked with small businesses who deal with this issue, but the big ones as well. We still need to write a lot more. As an engineer, it makes me think that we still need to write a lot better what we call primitives for other people to build on top of, that are more robust and work the way the social layer works, where, for instance, you can have social wallet recovery. But yeah, we usually think about these things in terms of the consumer, but I think they're actually almost more applicable for businesses, where you have really just more threat actors in general.
Yeah, businesses got to worry about two different fronts, right? Instead of just being consumers having to worry about their own wallets, businesses have to worry about the businesses' wallets, but the businesses also have to worry about the consumer experience, and are the consumers going to get screwed over? And so it's a double-edged sword on the business side of things, right? How are they going to work things internally, and then how are things going to work for the safety of the consumer in a brand new Web3 environment where the business might not be able to put a Band-Aid on it. Yeah. So with this Amazon NFT initiative. This is
tell me about that. I worked at Amazon for 5 years, so I'm really curious. And I used to go to talks. Sorry to interrupt you, but I used to go to talks on their Hyperledger and Ethereum stuff, and it was not very impressive at the time. Anyway, please tell me and everyone for the audience.
Yeah, well, that's really cool that you worked at Amazon. So yeah, definitely thanks for jumping in and letting us know that, because you do have that inside information, being someone that worked at Amazon. But yeah, man. So I don't know if this is Hyperledger or if this is going to be Ethereum, but they're having multiple initiatives where Amazon's been shopping digital collectibles and getting involved through multiple entities.
Excuse me, sorry.
Bless you. Multiple entities. Said to be among those entities are Layer 1 blockchains. Right here, Layer 1 blockchains, blockchain gaming startups, developers, and digital exchanges. So all of those different, so multiple Layer 1 blockchains, multiple developers, multiple exchanges, gaming startups, right? The focus is on blockchain gaming and related NFT applications. One of the ideas, getting their Amazon customers to play crypto games and then claiming free NFTs in the process. So sort of basic, but if I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Dookie Dash, but in terms of the Dookie Dash game and what the Bored Apes have been able to do is create a $1 million of revenue in 2 weeks time with that highly engaged audience there. Amazon gaming studios across the board are probably really interested, and with as much money as Amazon has coming in and with as much research that they've done across like everything that we have highlighted in purple here, they're probably going to be in it to win it, and to win it in a big way, like the antagonist, the Ready Player One style, you know what I mean?
That's really cool to hear. NFTs are they're the path in. Like if you look at Facebook, they got lectured by Congress for trying to do Libre and like an actual currency type of thing. But the NFTs are just so culturally accepted that it has allowed the big tech companies to pursue this. Because there were people when I was at Amazon in 2017, 2016, 2015 who were pitching this internally for years. There was a whole Wikipedia site internally about all the pros and cons it would have for Amazon and the complexity and the chat. Like people were working on this, but leadership didn't want to do it until it sounds like NFTs and gaming.
Well, this article is saying that we really don't know who is the personnel are that are leading the Amazon's NFT initiative. What we do know, according to at least one source, is that an earlier iteration, they were going to do at least one NFT drop with an artist, like an Amazon NFT drop with an artist. And then they, were like, screw this, we're going to supersize it. We're going to make it bigger. We're going to make it better. And so now the Amazon's Web3 blueprint appears to have significantly evolved since then.
Yeah, they're not going to do something small. Like if you look at how they started with gaming, their first game was an MMO. So it's like once they go 0 to 1, they go like 1 to N really quickly. That's what they're good at. So once the business decides, okay, we're going to try this, they're not going to like have 6 people working on some half-assed product, because that doesn't actually give the business very good information about whether it's a worthwhile technology to pursue. If, oh, we only spent like 6 people on this, like, was that the issue or not? So they'll spend, just hearing that they're doing something, to me, from my experience, I'm guessing they're doing quite a bit, because it wouldn't make sense to do just a little bit and then it just does. That's not how the business operates internally.
Yeah, and so it's talking about this more of a straightforward loyalty program than a crypto initiative, but they do have an existing thing called Amazon Coins program that continues to exist from 2013. That's very, very old. That's cool that they already have that brand and that sort of a skeletal structure. They could resurrect that as a crypto initiative. Are you familiar with that from 2013?
They have, yeah. Amazon Coins is notable because it's consumer facing, but there's yeah.
Corey, what if it turns out that the most historical NFT was was minted by Amazon? That might be pre-Pepe territory in there.
No, it's not on a. So to be clear for the audience here, the Amazon coin thing is, I don't think it's on chain. It's just like some SQL database where they give rewards. But to the consumer, it means that they have an org. They have product and marketing around the concept of coins and tokens for their customers. So they have like, it helps like at big tech, you can just build on top of things other people do. Because a lot of times you're just trying to like convince the person ahead of you that you can deliver.
And it's a thing, it's like a program, it's like an initiative, it's a department, however they have it structured, that already exists. So
right.
Some
they just like are going to hypothetically, right. They could just swap out the technology.
A manager, a director, a VP could just say, "Hey, let's take this existing thing. Let's redo it into like a crypto initiative. Take the coins, make it an actual coin. We already got the trademarks, and then because they got to string it up to, product development, engineers, developers, marketers, all these people got to get into a room, and yeah, when it's already there and existing, and it's not like a totally brand new thing, then. Yeah, I mean, if I was in charge of something called Amazon Coins in the state of Web3, I was sure as heck be flying that up the flagpole to my uppers, and I would say, hey, we got Amazon Coins. Let's do Amazon Coins right.
I would bet they don't do Amazon Coins because that's like the Libre model. Like, what is an Amazon coin? Like, they're going to invent a currency. What I do think is
that's not the Libre model, because you mentioned that before, and I want to jump in. The Libre model, like the reason Libre. The reason
Libra? I don't know.
Yeah, Libre, and then they changed it to the Diem coin. That's right. The reason that was so controversial at first is because they were going to do a bucket of currencies. So they were going to have like a bucket of currencies and say, okay, we got dollars, we got pounds, we got yuans, and that was like really threatening to. It was basically like recreating an SDR. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like that was something that the government didn't want. It's different than like what USDC is doing, where it's 1-for-1 backed, US dollars. And US dollars alone. So it's like this financial, political, specific thing that nobody liked, because it would have given Facebook like sovereign power as a basically a full-fledged nation state. They would have owned their money.
Right. Yeah. I think the nice thing about NFTs, and the reason all these companies are going forward, is because they have the gaming narrative, and they don't have to also have a currency. They can just do transactions in USDC or ETH and then do conversions on the back end. For instance, they don't have to launch a game with crypto NFTs and Amazon coins as some sort of payment proxy. They kind of it's kind of like a separate thing where it's not Amazon coins. To me is more like, it's like WoW gold, I guess, maybe. I don't think that needs to really be on chain with the current level of technology we have. But
well, it does. I mean, when you say on chain, there's multiple chains that it could be on.
There's just too many World of Warcraft people though today. Maybe in a few years. Too many transactions. Like, you're generating hundreds of transactions a minute.
But I mean. I listen, man. I look at things in a thousand different ways, and so when someone's playing World of Warcraft or when someone's playing a game, you can have a Web3 wallet, and that Web3 wallet can have all your NFTs to play that game. And when you connect to that game and you do sign with Ethereum, all your sign with Ethereum is doing is authenticating your one user to that one game. It sees you have those NFTs, and it doesn't need to make constant calls to the blockchain. It sees your account, it knows you have those NFTs, and now you play. And as you're playing, like the normal gameplay isn't on chain, but when you like do something cool, and when you get the NFT gets deposited into the the wallet that you signed in with Ethereum with. You know what I mean? So not everything is going to like be a transaction, and so when they do that, that could be to the Ethereum blockchain, it could be to the Polygon or whatever other like less secure and less awesome blockchain.
Yeah. Yep. I'm excited to see what they make. They were investing in gaming, but I think they missed on their MMO.
Well, they probably don't want to miss on crypto.
I'm interested in the blockchain that was doing all of that database stuff. I couldn't find their name recently. I was trying to remember them because I had small position that I had liquidated. I think it was VThor, connected to VThor, whatever that's like their base or their reward.
VChain.
VChain, thank you. Yeah, I'm curious to know how VChain is holding up and if there's any adoption happening. Last I had heard there was conversations with Salesforce and some other big players. So I'd be curious to see what's happening there, if anyone knows.
Yeah, I think VChain was last I checked in on them in like 2019, 2020. They were doing really cool stuff with supply chain tracking.
Yeah,
with both like sticker QR codes on wine bottles, and also RFID chips. As well for supply chain tracking. Really cool stuff. Which honestly, the process and technology can get transposed onto like any blockchain, but they were doing, people that were connected with the project were doing really, really cool stuff.
It's interesting just to think of the dynamic of how you motivate people to actually have nodes on the chain, because like if you're just talking about like database, there's no economy directly around your personal database. You know what I mean? So it's like the idea of connecting, looking at the token price now, the VChain has gone down significantly. I mean, it's like 2 cents or something right now. But
everything down significantly.
Everything, exactly. But I think it's just interesting though, because then what happens if the market's tanking and all of a sudden nobody wants to run the nodes on your network anymore? I mean, then your database goes down. Like that's intolerable. So I think that there's that question persists. Amazon would be the leader though, because Amazon would fully understand better than anyone else running AWS how necessary it is to improve the centralization of our data storage practices. So I think a big proof of capacity kind of a mined network is going to emerge for the purpose of replacing AWS if it hasn't already. Shout out everyone in the chat. Also, I chatted in the chat. You have to kind of go onto a different page to do it, I think. I don't know if I can do it from right within here. But yeah, hey to all the homies in the chat. Look like Design DNA showed up. Thank you for being here. Maybe some others too. Good to see you guys.
Yeah. There's a lot of builders out there, and we're seeing more and more signs of the corporate side of interest getting involved. And let that be crypto companies being at the World Economic Forum, or really large companies getting involved, like the Salesforce NFT platform, or the coming Amazon NFT platform. But you got to think for how many developers and builders there have been in Web3 and ENS and Web3, that are like small builders and developers, and then these companies get in. And when these companies get in, they're adding legitimacy to the work that everyone else has already done. And then there's all of these developers that are on Amazon, or all these other developers around the world that are looking at this as a sign that they should be getting involved, that they should be paying attention. And some of those builders and developers can be found at the ensgrants.xyz/round/17. So we got a couple of these. Have you taken a peek at this yet, Corey?
I'm looking. No, I haven't yet.
Yeah. So this is round 17, or in the URL, but this is the public goods. There's the ecosystem stuff, which is where the Web3 domains typically, pops in for the ENS Small Grants, but this is the public goods, which is like larger than just the ENS stuff. And
Right.
we have 5 projects that are each going to receive 1 ETH. Voting closes in about 5 days, and we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects. Oh man! So yeah, there's going to be the top 5 and the bottom 3. And right now, top players, we have Revoke.cash. You know them, you love them. Not only
I've used Revoke.
Yeah, I mean, I use Revoke. I have Revoke like up in tabs. Yeah. Not only do we use and know and love Revoke.cash, but I mean, this has got to be this is right the right person, right? I wish I used. I wish I knew for sure. So like, I got to go double check, right? That'd be funny if like someone that wasn't Revoke.cash like did this. But what I love to see, you guys probably agree. I love it when someone has their ENS name. Look, we got 1 person, no ENS name. What's up with that? And then we got 3 people that have their avatars set. And I have to say, I just love that. What does it mean that
What do you think about my avatar?
Wait, is one of these yours?
No, I'm just saying in my icon on the video. No, none of those is mine.
I was gonna say, yeah, no,
I'm not familiar with
avatar.
Do you know it, Gary? I don't recognize it. It's some beautiful pixel art.
I don't recognize it, but it's great. I mean, it's like a cool, awesome looking guy. I love the like the 3D, like rainbow face, and I love the cool, crazy hair. It's like,
So this is a project I'm going to launch. It's all on chain.
Cool. Poppy,
and actually, there's a link in my Twitter bio.
Yeah,
it's called Open Avatar.
Yeah, when you guys pop the link in the private chat, and I'll share it on the stream.
Right on, Corey. I think you've been rocking that for a minute. Have you been working on that for a little while? Because like
I've been working on it for over a year.
Okay. Neat.
I
love 100% on chain stuff. I think just in mentioning AWS, in some of my recent travels, I learned that some content that shocked me was stored on some centralized server, some NFT content. And I was like, wow, we just got to do better, like in general.
So I've never done art, but when I quit my job, one of my goals was I had a few goals. I wanted to work on Ethereum. I wanted to just do something that was entirely my work. I wanted to, and I wanted to do some art. And I did like a generative algorithm, and I was like, man, whatever. And then I drew this pixel art, and I was like, no shit, that's kind of good. And so I spent about 4 months drawing the art, and then I was pretty happy with what I had, and I posted some pictures on the Twitter, and people like it. Everyone seems to like it. So then I was like, all right, how am I going to put this on chain? Because problem with putting on IPFS is you have to pin them. You have to actually run a piece of software somewhere on a computer, like for the rest of your life, to pin the art. And I did not want to do that. So I wanted it to be on Ethereum. So then I actually took a break from programming, and I returned to programming at the end of December, and I've been going hardcore actually the last month or so, and I got it all working on chain, and but I gotta polish it before I launch it. But it's going to be open source. You can choose your attributes, so you'll be able to pick your character, and it'll be all on chain, and it'll render on chain. I wrote like a PNG encoder in Solidity and stuff.
Open source, all on chain. You can pick your attributes. Did I get all that right? Open source, all on chain. You can pick your attributes. CCO or reserve rights.
Yeah,
CCO?
the art will be CCO. The code will be MIT. I think is what I'm going to do.
What's the max supply?
I think I might go unlimited.
Unlimited forever or unlimited for a certain amount of time?
I don't know, man. I haven't decided. This is why I haven't really tweeted some of these things. I gotta get my code like kind of end to end, and then shift into marketing mindset. But what do you think? What should I do? What would you? I don't know. What should it cost? I have an idea in my head. What should it cost? What do you think?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, What,
I
what,
want it to be
what I
cheap.
think,
I want people to make them and keep them and use them. And actually, I wrote, it's not just the forward-facing art. I actually have 12-frame animation art, so you can go up, down, left, right. So if you've ever played the original Pokemon games, you could use the sprite art like that. And I wrote JavaScript that can animate that. But that'll be like a roadmap thing to get. I can actually put that all on chain too, but more effort.
yeah. So the first thing is like, there's a lot of legal things that get figured out in Web3, but with that being said, I'm not a fan of CCO, because when you have something that's CCO, then anybody can use any piece in the entire collection without needing to own that piece. Therefore, they don't need to own that piece. They don't even need to own the NFT. And so when you create the reserved rights, then it creates like an incentive for someone to own the unit, because then they could take that unit and use it in a creative sense. So they have a similar one to that. And if they want like the one that's different, then they have to acquire that one. If you have like, if you want people to use it, then you have to like incentivize people to use it. And if you do it CCO, then there's no reason for me to have to like own any of them, let alone one of them, or let alone a specific one of them. Then if, based on everything else that you said, you shouldn't, especially if it's unlimited, although what I'm saying doesn't have to be true, but what I'm about to say, but there should be no two of them that should be alike, right? So if you have like one that's exactly one way, and someone wants to do another one that's exactly the same way, it should throw an error and say, hey, there's already one done like this. You got to like change one thing or add one thing or subtract one thing. And then, and then basically it's like a derivative of whatever you thought was cool. There was a NFT project called Emoji that did something very similar to that back in the day. Yeah, let me think.
Yeah, I wrote the deduplicator. There's actually an interesting challenge. Let me get your opinion on this. So there's two layers here, for instance. There's like a layer for the eyes, and then a layer for like a VR goggles, for instance, in my portrait. So you can pick different eyes, but you can also pick goggles that cover your eyes. And then there's also some that only cover like one eye. So I have two ways I can do this. One is I can say a character is unique if their properties are unique. And that might mean that their actual 32 by 32 pixel happens to look the same because, for instance, they might have different eyes, but the goggles, for instance, are covering it.
I fully understand where you're going with this. Yes.
Or
Gary, are you
I can do a check, but ultimately it's going to cost them money, right? I actually have to like write a little bit of math and change the input coming in, and then basically write a little bit of extra logic so that it works that way. So on chain, there's a cost trade-off, but I just want to throw one more thing out there before I get your feedback, and that is that I kind of would like to think of these avatars more than just their like 32 by 32 embodiment, and hope maybe deliver more art for the project or 3D art for the project. And so yes, your initial render might look the same, but at a higher resolution, some of the properties could matter in the future.
There'll never be two that are identical.
What like, I don't know. What do you think? Because during the bear market, it's not going to matter much, but during a bull market, we're talking about like $5 to $10 extra to do this duplication check.
Just tell me that there's never going to be two that are identical.
But what does that mean? Does that mean they look identical or they have the same properties? Because like if you have if one of them has
there's different
red eyes and one of them has blue eyes.
Right. So
about hidden properties that would render identical, but one of them has a different property underneath the raster layer that's different. So the metadata is different, but the image is the same.
Yeah, I mean, because like I hear what you're saying, Corey, as you develop the brand and you make things like, new versions and deeper resolution and like, whatever, like hidden gems, like there is a difference between someone, two guys that have glasses and one, has blue eyes underneath the glasses and one has, whatever, red eyes underneath the glasses. Like if you want to do that, you could set up a system that, could eliminate that issue and make everything like clearly distinguishable, sort of like a CryptoPunks or whatever. But you don't have to do that, and you could sort of have that could be like a feature, not a bug. But nevertheless, there shouldn't ever be, especially if it's going to be like an infinite mint. And like I said, this isn't like true because yeah, sure, you could have two of them that are identical, but I'm just in the camp that every single one should have a sense of uniqueness, and then let people.
So I'm with you there. All the properties are definitely unique. I just have I have code for both versions. I just have a product level decision to make about that, and I haven't really decided. I'll wait till I have the optimized code and then see what the gas difference is. Yeah. The other thing is it doesn't have to be. I thought about doing like a bonding curve. Like if you look at like Nouns DAO is technically infinite mint, but it's on a 1 per day bonding curve. You don't have to do 1 per day because I want to get more of them out there, and I want them to be cheap. I want them to cost like the same as like lunch. And so, yeah, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do.
I don't hate a bonding curve. And Corey, you're getting positive feedback from VP of Sales.eth. Looks like Pokemon gym leaders. I can dig it. Good feedback. Thank you, VP.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely took some inspiration from the Pokemon sprites.
Cool.
Hopefully they look different enough.
To them, can you make them like move a little bit, like a little GIF format?
It's a surprising amount of work to go from let me get you a picture of what the sprite sheet looks like offline or through here, and then you can show that on your screen. But actually, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. But I've got the art for it, and I'm not like an animator, so I didn't really know how to animate it once I had the art. I ended up deciding that because I'm a programmer, the easiest way for me to do it was to write a little JavaScript applet that did it, and then take a video of my screen with the JavaScript applet. I have that somewhere on another branch, but actually, but yeah, that's planned out. You kind of have to launch something at some point, so I have to kind of strip down my idea a bit. But yeah, the sprite, I do have all the art for the sprite sheets, and you can walk around, and it is definitely in my plan to show that. But yeah, it takes time.
I like the whole premise of what you're doing. It's very fun. And I don't know if I ever told Gary before, but in 2021, I was working on a project that was not too dissimilar in that it was pixel art. It was a fish. I could show it to you. But it was a pixel art Babel fish that was for a project on RSK network on Rootstock. It's kind of like a merge mine Bitcoin EVM compatible network. It's kind of small but interesting. And so we were over there working on NFT stuff, and our thing was it was an NFT builder. So like you could choose your eyewear and your headwear and your fish shirt and everything, and it was very much like this, like pixel art, and you could customize it. And we ran into that question. We were talking about it like, should we make it where they're all fully unique and prohibit people? And one of the solutions that came to mind was, why don't we make the name? Customizable name was part of our metadata. So we thought, well, we just keep the names unique. Well, in the case of ENS, you're probably going to want to, that problem's already solved, and you may want to associate your sprites with ENS. I wonder if you've thought much about how you would integrate ENS into your projects. We didn't even have that option. We weren't thinking about it. And then number two, with the sprite art, I don't love the idea of video capturing. I feel you'll have some quality loss if you do that. I think just simple GIFs is easy enough. We had my friend's 13-year-old son homeschooled, just doing it as a project, and he was loving it. And so he made a bunch of GIF animations for us, like fairly simply. But I know that when you're deploying that, and then when you're deploying it all on chain, it's a different level. And so I just wonder, you don't want to be capturing MP4 video because that's not going to go all on chain efficiently. You know what I mean? Like the GIFs are going to be a lot more lightweight.
Yeah, let me describe for you how it works. So when you make a sprite sheet, you have like the different pictures. So just imagine like 4x4 grid of these sprites with different animations. So I can encode that on chain. And then that's all the information you need basically on chain. One sec, I'm gonna cough. So then later you write JavaScript that reads that from the chain, and it knows how to, you basically write this algorithm that crops and shows different portions of the 4x4 grid really quickly as you're walking, and it looks like you're playing a Game Boy game. So that's the technical design for how to do it. So you don't have to put like an MP4 on chain or anything. I just put literally the sprites, and then you would build some JavaScript so people could use their WASD keys and open their wallet and walk around with their character in a little sandbox demo.
Thank you. That makes a lot more sense to me. Did you also have a response to Gary about the CCO? I thought that Gary's feedback about the CCO was really interesting. I wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
You know, there's a beautiful part about CCO from my perspective where I don't have to hire any lawyers or ever deal with legal. I'm sympathetic to the idea of, to me, like cryptography trumps licensing. And so if someone wants to own something or a game wants to build an experience for someone using the avatars, then it doesn't, like, you could basically base that experience based off a cryptographic signature or based on letting them use the art, or building a brand around it. And I think I'm more, from my perspective, the goal on the project is to like produce something that other people can build on. And if I restrict the art, it makes it harder to build on in certain ways. And I'm fine with the appeal to cryptographic ownership, primarily with the dedupe logic that we've discussed.
I just don't understand what your value proposition is, because it doesn't matter if it's CCO or if it's reserve rights. Either way, it's going to have the cryptographic properties of being on chain. Just in one way, if like, yeah, there's like copywriters out there that just like ride your trademark, but in one way, if I have my ape, I can take my ape and I can use my ape. And if somebody else uses that ape on a Twitter ad, then I have something that I can resort to say, hey, stop using this in a Twitter ad, and Twitter will like respect that. And I can continue building IP, right, around like an image and a likeness. Where if it's CCO, then I don't even need to buy the project anymore. I could just build off of it. And yeah, you could say,
yeah, but you don't own it. Like, who cares about, like, if I copy DC Investors Punk,
yeah.
right? So like your hypothetical translates to CryptoPunks, right? So DC Investor has a very famous punk. Like, if someone else goes and builds a brand off DC Investors Punk, do you think that devalues his punk? I think mostly my opinion is I don't really care, honestly.
Right, but
I don't really use it like this.
You don't care, but you care about your audience who's going to be purchasing these.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a $10 product. Like, if they don't want to buy the $10 product and they right-click save, then I don't really care. Like, I didn't build a project to make a bunch of mint money. I built a project to build something cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, it makes it easy.
Open avatar. I mean, you can't call it.
I mean, if I sell 10,000 at $10, that's enough money to pay for 3D art and build that, and then go from there. If I don't want to pursue, I don't want most people to think that there's a high value per NFT, because it's really hard to deliver on that as a single person, as like a low funded project. Like, I can't deliver
again, not
50
what I'm talking
ETH
about.
of value per NFT. I can't even deliver 1 ETH of value reliably per NFT, but I can deliver you $10 of art that's cool on chain that you might want to use, and then build some JavaScript stuff, and then you know,
there's
come
an
back to it.
analysis of projects that the success of projects that are CCO versus the success of projects that I mean, in terms of like like I know I definitely don't like talking about the ENS maxis, but I know that they changed from being CCO to reserved license just because they recognized I suppose a strategic advantage or possible weakness.
To me, like, I really don't care. Like, I would rather replace licenses with cryptography. So if there's an option for me to use cryptography instead of licenses, then I'd rather do that.
Yeah,
Because that's the direction the world is going. And this product is going to live for 50 years or 100 years. And I don't really care about licenses. It's the cryptography that matters. Like, if you want to, like, if some hypothetical person wants to go and not pay $10 for some sprite on chain and then like make a brand out of it, like, that's I can't even put my mind in the
it's not about
person. It's such a weird thing.
Viewpoint. No, that's not.
And
the
if
viewpoint.
someone doesn't want to, like,
no, Corey,
someone doesn't want to invest $10 because I don't really care. Like, don't make my project. There's millions of people in the world.
That's not
good content right now.
Yeah, that's not the viewpoint of the concern, because the viewpoint of the concern is that the project has some level of success in the sense that people are purchasing it, they're happy with it, they're building on top of it. There's somebody out there then that owns a really cool, version of it, and then you just have other people that are making t-shirts and whatever, like proverbially like making t-shirts or doing whatever, and they're just like annoying the people that own their one special unique NFT. Other people can still just purchase into the ground floor, because especially if it's on unlimited mint. Have
you ever, I mean, how many people in their life sue someone? Right? Because like the defense against this is to sue them. I've never sued anyone. I'm 30 years old.
Yeah.
And like,
I don't think the defense is to sue someone, because you can I do digital marketing for a living. And so, when someone has content on a website or content in a Google ad and it's infringing, then there's just a website. I just like fill out a form, and then that gets taken care of. No lawyers.
Yeah. So the cryptographic version of that is you like sign a signature that says you own it. So anyone that wants to interface with people who care about cryptography will ask for a signature of the ownership, and the rest of people who don't care about that, like,
I just don't understand what cryptography has to do with that, because if you
prove that you own the avatar, no one else can own the avatar. Like, your defense against other people using your avatar is the legal system, right? And to actually go through that, you have to sue someone. How many of my customers are going to sue someone or care about that? Probably like 0.01%.
I'm very litigious, Corey, and I plan to own a bunch of these open avatars.
Well, I'm just pushing back because, again, like I just I gave a couple of different examples how you actually don't have to sue anybody. You don't need any lawyers whatsoever. So lawyers have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, but what do you think the mechanism is underneath that? What do you think actually prevents the other person doing it, right? Someone said they get threatened with jail.
Yeah, but me signing a cryptographic signature that I own an NFT, that's still not preventing someone else from, that's not cryptographically preventing someone from making t-shirts.
Right. I'm saying the entire thing is so convoluted to prevent someone from using your IP that I just don't care.
Yeah.
And it's not an important part of my project. And it was literally the first tweet. Scroll down to the first tweet on the project. It says it's going to be Creative Commons. Like, it's just, I think I have different goals than how you want to do it.
Yeah, we saw that.
Literally the biggest project in all of NFTs is Creative Commons.
Yeah, I'm already there.
And so I'm having a hard time, like, putting my mind, I'm just having a hard time understanding your position versus the project.
Yeah, I'm just being a devil's advocate. So, and the position is, again, it's not a problem that you are going to have selling floor NFTs out of the project. It's a problem that the owner of a specific piece of art has. And, that the owner of that specific piece of art might care about where that art is used. And and them cryptographically owning it has nothing to do with like the legal foundation of like where they live. Because if you say something has an MIT license and like an open license and it's like CCO license, then that has nothing to do with cryptography. The fact that it's like cryptographic just like has nothing to do with it.
I mean, people use Coree.eth on Twitter. I don't care. I don't sue them.
Yeah, exactly. So until Twitter has signed it with Ethereum and a designation built into their UX UI that shows a difference between someone that really owns Coree.eth and someone that's just copying and pasting it. Yeah, but if someone listen, you would care, because if somebody was actually using Coree.
No, Gary, empirically, I don't. I literally don't care.
No. Let me ask you.
You can't tell me what I care about.
If someone's using Coree.eth,
with all due respect,
you're
right?
definitely gonna care.
You're going a little far.
Corey, I was
telling me what I care and don't care about.
Yeah, no, totally.
I just don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I don't give a fuck about lawyers. I don't give a fuck about licenses. If you want to make money off my project and fork my code, go ahead. It's MIT license. If you want to copy my project and change one pixel and do it, go ahead. Like, this is
ask you
something I'm making because it's cool. And if you don't want to buy it because you don't own it and you want to have the possibility of suing someone to not use your thing, I think you should go like build something or use something else than what I'm building.
Let me ask you if you care about this. If there's a project and they go to Google.
If someone makes Nazi art with the project, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you if you care about this. If someone goes to Google and they have a scam ad to a scam version of your website, do you care about that?
No, I don't care.
Okay. Got it.
Corey is hardcore on this issue.
I love it. I'm just being a devil's advocate.
I'm one person. How am I supposed to care about that? I'm supposed to hire a legal and pay a legal person to go pursue those problems? Or I could just say, don't fucking mint the scam site, you dumbass.
Again,
I mean, I'm a big believer. I'm in crypto because of personal.
For the people listening, you don't need to hire a lawyer.
If you want to use my project and Pepe the Frog it, go right ahead. I'll be so fucking rich from people minting it. Like, my God.
Sure. That's true. But for the people listening, I just want to push back. You don't need a lawyer. Corey, you keep on saying you need a lawyer. Please don't say that, because you don't.
You need a lawyer because you need to think from the perspective of the person who's attacking you. Okay?
I do this for a living.
Who's the threat actor, right? So let's say I'm going to attack you.
Yeah, no. If you have content you're trying to take
ultimately,
out of
right? Who's on the other side of that form? It's a lawyer. A lawyer, or a court or something. That form doesn't mean bullshit until it hits the court.
You'll be lucky if it's paralegal, Corey. You work at Amazon, you know. I mean, there's just a person at the other end getting a DMCA request,
Okay, and they just ignore it. Then what? I mean, literally nothing. This is why cryptography is beautiful, because it's just like empirically obvious. And the court system, like, you just take the Donald Trump technique. What are you going to do? Sue Donald Trump? Get him in court. Good luck. Yeah, go file a form online against Donald Trump for impersonating you. Like, that's your threat actor on the other side here, not like someone who's going to listen to a DMCA request for your $10 32 by 32 sprite.
No, I think again, I push back. If you do that, I mean, that's against the Twitter terms of service. If someone's impersonating you and doesn't designate that it's a parody account, you fill out a.
They're not impersonating your identity. They're using a piece of art. Your identity is not art. You can't get you used to not be able to get a blue check account unless you KYC. Like, you're not an avatar. They don't have rights. They're not people. They're not persons. Like, you aren't your avatar, right? Like, you're not a picture of yourself. You are you. So, like,
yeah, but I mean, an artist has rights over their art, don't they? Or no?
Well, it's not their art. It's my art that I made, and I gave it to everyone to the world to use. And if you want to mint it and use the applications that are built on top of it, you're going to need to sign a signature.
All right, Corey, we have feedback from the comment section. We got a new comment in at 603. VP of Sales.eth has commented, not how to build a fan base or audience. You're basically saying you don't care about the people you're interested in your projects, that everyone who likes it should be smart enough to not click bad links. Another new comment just popped in. When those types of attacks grow more sophisticated day by day, same goes for Coree.eth. Okay. What do you think, Corey?
How do you want me to prevent customers from clicking scam links? I don't understand what I'm supposed to do.
If it's content in a search engine, you could go to the Google organic, web page and fill out the DMCA page, and they can remove it from the Google index. And if it's a Google ad, you can fill out the Google Ads DMCA or report, report the ad, and they'll, I mean, they obviously make money off those things. So on one hand, they like making money, but theoretically, if you fill it out a couple times, and they take those down.
I think ENS is the answer. Coree.eth is the answer. I mean, if you wanted to really truly have confidence that the site you're going to is associated with the person you're interacting with, and the person you're interacting with is Coree.eth, then why not, go to a site that's affiliated? What if it was?
That's a great idea.
Coree.eth.limo.
That needs to be built into the browser to work.
Yeah.
Just like Corey's example with Twitter. Then they Twitter like once. And yeah, ENS fixes that, and cryptography does. I agree, Corey, that cryptography fixes everything. And but the thing is that the cryptography needs to be integrated everywhere.
Does Nouns DAO sue people that do this?
I don't know.
I would want to answer to that, because I will do whatever Nouns DAO does. If Nouns DAO fills out those DMCA requests, I'll do it. Or whatever they're called. I mean, I don't want people to go to a dumb site, but I don't want to spend all day doing DMCA requests. I mean, it's very simple to mint from the right site. You go to the Twitter account, you click the link, you mint. Have some personal responsibility. If that's too much for you, go do a different project. I'm an engineer.
I'm excited.
There's millions of people.
Your sandbox environment with the avatars animated. That's interesting and cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and like I said, they look really cool. I'm definitely going to be purchasing a couple of them once they pop out. I definitely think this could be huge. And I love the whole 16 by 16 just because I'm a web guy and I like the whole favicon. I like things that fit really small in my browser tab. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I mean, if you I would put that out there as a marketing thing, is that to make this your browser tab favicon, make a thing where it downloads it as a favicon. Because right? You guys do web stuff? Do you guys into favicons like me, or am I just weird?
Yeah, I've made some favicons back in the day, and I think that they still have great applicability and utility all the time. So having an avatar on your .eth site favicon, like a custom avatar that only a few people would know, would be very kitschy and cool.
Well, I mean, think about it. Your favicon could be favicon. It could be any NFT, any NFT, as long as it's squarular. It could be your. But the thing is that because the pixel art is already pixel, it kind of natively fits a little better.
Yeah, I do use it as a favicon on my test site, and it fits nice. It looks nice.
Yeah, I bet.
I think Gary's the Mohawk. I think Gary's the red Mohawk guy with the pocketed shirt.
I'm looking at the blue. I'm looking at the blue alien Mohawk guy, man. I do love this hair, this crazy hair. Oh, it's like Corey's hair.
Since I did this, I made a bunch of them with different skin tones. I made like metal skin tones and stuff, and some of them look so cool. I'm really excited to show it. Let me just cap it off. Look, I care about people and I want them to not go into scams, but from an empirical standpoint, there's really only so much I could do. And I don't want to hire legal people. So if a lot of people are trying to do ads for the things and people are getting scammed, and then I'm being told about that, yeah, it's trivial for me to go after that. So, but in terms of more proactive than that, it's hard for me to imagine. I mean, I have a Twitter, and then it would link to the site. I mean, there's a certain amount that if you do, yeah. It is a one-person project. I'm just saying that cryptography. I don't know. Does a DAO fill out those forms? These are really hard questions. People want centralization, but sometimes the answer is that sorry, that's not the goal of the project.
Yeah, but a DAO is just a group of people that are organizing. Okay. And there's there's different mechanics about a DAO. somehow they use cryptography or tokens for like voting or something. But like a DAO is just a group of people. And when you have a group of people, there could be some random person on the DAO that doesn't know how to do anything, right? Because they're just like a person in the world that wants to participate, but they're not like an expert in any one thing. And if they were in like my DAO, I'd be like, hey, we have a bunch of fucking scammers, or we got a bunch of like, contents out there, people scraping our website, and we want to DMCA all that to get the hell out. So like, so we get the marketing benefit, and we can also take out the scammers, and we can concentrate, when people find shit, they're going to find like the good shit. And like, then we can ask that person to do that work because they're a person that's organizing. It's like grassroots organizing. And, just the whole point is that right now, because like, listen, man, I don't know if you know how much, like with like things that I tweet about and stuff, but I'm pretty much a decentralization maximalist. And with that being said, like we have Web 2.5. We're going to have Web 2.5 for a while. And cryptography alone doesn't fix everything. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a lot of ways to vector attack Web 3. And cryptography is like the most secure and the least of the risks, essentially. It's like in like, look at ENS, look at the ENS DAO. In the ENS DAO, man, if there was like a serious thing that we actually had a vote on, and it was somehow like national interest, or they had to do with like terrorism or CP, and they were just like, yeah, we got to have a backdoor.
I feel like you're forecasting something.
Maybe I am. And if they said, yeah, we have to have a backdoor in these names so we can like restrict these names. And if any of the delegates, we know who the freaking delegates are. There's only like 50 of you or 100 of you. I'm like number like 50 or something. And I, feel like I barely have any power with my like 14,000 votes. And I know it's like significant in terms of voting, but geez, what can I really do? I could just like tip things a little bit. But the point is that the government could say, yeah, if you vote against this and you're a terrorist, and we know who Gary Palmer Jr.eth is, and essentially there'd be lots of U.S. delegates that won't be able to vote for that, and then and then you have to rely on enough delegates either, risking living in jail forever, or being anonymous, or whatever, right? And so there's a lot of ways to attack things besides, and so the cryptography isn't everything, and we have to use a little bit of the old world into the new world. We have to, it's like we don't want to destroy the old. We want to build the new. We also don't want to ignore the old. We got to use a little bit of the old. Just because we're like, building space stations doesn't mean that we're still going to use buses. Or just because we're building trains doesn't mean we're not going to use horses. And I don't know. I just want to have a well-balanced diet to make sure that we accomplish the goals of a cypherpunk utopia.
How do you think projects like CryptoPunks and Nouns DAO fit into this, given their success?
Well, CryptoPunks is now owned by Yuga Labs, and I'm pretty sure they updated their terms of service to be restrictive license now. Didn't they?
No, they did the opposite. I'm sorry. They made them CCO. Right?
I thought
I might just totally misremember that.
I thought they did the opposite. Because the apes are reserved rights, and so I thought they bought the punks and then made the punks also reserved rights. But I could have that backwards. And so, like you said, like one of like to, and listen, man, I'm a little bit more
terms and conditions.
I'm a little bit more in the camp of reserved rights, but I'm just being a devil's advocate with you. You know what I mean? So like, don't hate me too much.
That's good. I mean, if I'm good. You're making me think about it, especially how I talk about it.
Yeah, and so you bring up a good
release the open source code. Actually, it will be quite easy to spin up a fake site. So,
you bring up a good point.
You own your CryptoPunk. You own derivative. Yeah, it's not really one specific. They haven't gone with like a boiler. They wrote their own license. I guess that makes sense. It says, here's the underline. You own your CryptoPunk NFT.
Control off the word
We
commercial.
own the IP in your CryptoPunk art. We own but license to you the IP in your CryptoPunk art. I don't really know what that means. The IP. You
Intellectual
own the IP. What is intellectual about it? Is that like the code? Or
No, the art, the image, the
pixels?
likeness.
I guess art is intellectual. Okay.
Yes.
You own the IP in your derivative CryptoPunk works. So they're saying, okay, so you kind of get that. And you own,
commercial.
when you own a digital wallet that holds a CryptoPunk NFT, you own the exclusive right to hold, sell, transfer, and execute transactions.
So this is the specific where the rubber meets the road. This is the integration between the old school, legal infrastructure licensing and the cryptographic blockchain data storage. And what punks seem to have arrived at is that it was most advantageous to license punks to the holder by whoever has the token. So basically to just structure so that the cryptography and the legal licensing agree with one another. Is what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, because it kind of sounds like the English is just, they say this phrase like, when you own a digital wallet that holds the NFT, you have the right to. It's kind of like they're granting you the right to do something
So this is what happened.
You have like in America, you have a speech right, which means you could publish a transaction as a number.
Yeah,
to
Corey,
Twitter.
So I'm remembering this now, reading this article that over here that I just brought up. But when the guys before you go, Larva Labs, when Larva Labs owned CryptoPunks and Meebits, they had actually more restrictive licensing than Bored Apes, and nobody was allowed to use their CryptoPunk for like almost anything except for like maybe your profile picture. Nobody was able to use it for anything. And so after Yuga bought it, they released the property rights to the owners. And I'm pretty sure they did it in a way like the BAYC NFTs.
Yeah,
So
I think that's that is 1C. You own the IP in your derivative CryptoPunk.
Yeah,
me.
So basically it's reserved rights. So basically if you own the punk that you own, nobody else owns it.
Which implies the legal authority if somebody else is using your punk that you spent $100,000 on to advertise and market something, and it's something that you disagree with and you want it taken down. You have the legal authority, existing infrastructure to do that, which is fantastic. Whereas in a CCO project, you would not retain that. So I think that's the critical difference.
I think it makes
and it says here real quick, it says the licenses for the CryptoPumps and the Meebits compared to BAYC, they're significantly more professional and more explicit in the ownership and the license terms now. So yeah, so these are not CCO. These are commercial use rights of apes and punks, and at this point, given display between Yuga license and uncleared whether Yuga intends to confer identical commercial rights between apes and punks. Yeah, so there's still a little bit of ambiguity.
And now I'm
reading nouns. Nouns. I'm reading the nouns mono repo, which is what we call a big repo that has a lot of different sub projects. They have GNU public license 3, which is copy left, so you keep the chain of references going. But I think the art is, I always thought the art was, nouns is open source and licensed under the Creative Commons no rights reserved license. This means that anyone can use the noun's name and imagery to create anything as it's in the public domain. That was what I originally set out to kind of go for.
Yeah, copy left to see it's like CCO. I'm not
and
sure.
And then the appeal to cryptography and a very cheap price if people want to own them. I'm listening to you guys, though. I don't know if there's an obvious answer. Because it
I
kind of
don't
depends,
think
like,
punks plan for success. I don't think anyone does. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to do something cool. And then you get really tremendously successful, and you have these like different relationships and obligations and requests from the community, which can vary based on the community and the circumstance. But this is the conclusion they've arrived at now. And I also think we shouldn't omit how legal infrastructure is very like composite, like modular. It's composable, and so it's kind of seems like in this emergent technology, the language and the use cases and the precedent to actually establish like a reasonable Web 2.5 solution is best exemplified in the punks probably and in Yuga Labs and everything with Basie. So why not fork the most sophisticated legal, documentation and have the benefit of that, right, for whatever it is that you're doing? And the reason is because you prefer an open project that allows just sort of a ubiquitous. It's a different mindset, It's like the difference in why. It's like asking Linux, why would you do an open source software when Windows is making so much money? What are you thinking over here? You know what I mean? Like, it's a fundamental difference in philosophy.
Well, really, the top level goal is you want to make the people happy, right? I have like two top level goals. I want to produce something that I'm happy with, but ultimately, like, no one else will build on it really unless they're like really quite satisfied with it, because that takes like creative effort and creative ideas and
creative code.
Yeah. Well, I know I can write good code.
You're triple threat, baby.
Oh, well, I'm kind of slow at art, especially. And if you even like double the resolution, 64 by 64 pixels, I really can't do art at that level. Starts to become, it just takes too long.
Zoom out. Yeah, well, I think it looks really cool. I think it's got a lot.
I kind of set out with the CCO open source idea, and I hadn't really thought about it much. But now I'm coming to a conclusion, and I do have to turn once I finish, I do have to like get into the marketing brain and say the right things, and I have to find the right balance because I like the idea of releasing something to the public domain, but I also totally understand you might get a lot more people interacting if there's the appeal to direct licensed ownership. I think I might just like ask from once I have some demos out and like just ask my Twitter followers on the account what they want.
Also ask, don't just ask your Twitter followers, ask other people who have done this. Ask your sort of colleagues or whatever you call these people, like other people that have created projects like you. And you got to find some of them who have done CCO and find some of them who have done reserved rights and ask them, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Try to find what's the truth between both of their viewpoints, because the truth is going to be somewhere in the middle, and it's going to be different depending on what your goals are.
Can also one thing that's interesting too about licenses is like you can always do a less restrictive license. You can never really once you release something, you can't really unrelease it because someone can just say they grabbed it with that old license at that old point in time. So you could always anyway, I don't want to describe complex things that only make sense in my head, but
yeah. Well, speaking of simple things that make sense in some people's heads, sometimes we're experimenting online and we're just messing around as like developers or consumers or just regular people, and sometimes we need just a little bit of test coin. And so if you want to get some test Matic, just wanted to share with people that the MumbaiFaucet.com is a great place to get a half a Matic a day, which is probably more than enough, but you can do that a couple times. And then there's the how do we say this? Gorilla, Goerli.
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 I don't.
Okay, well, this is the Go
I don't know.
Early faucet. Go Early.
I don't. I don't.
Phonetics
I feel like
is
that's wrong.
not my strongest, but whatever the name of the test net is.
Guys, it's Goerli. Sorry, I was in the other room. It's Goerli.
It's like Goerli. I will start it. Goerli. Oh man, there's no U, man. Just be a U if it's Goerli. Okay, so GoerliFaucet.com. You can get 0.2 Ethereum a day. Yeah, man. So yeah, sometimes people need a little bit of Ethereum, and sometimes they don't got it. So if you got a wallet and you're gonna have it for a while, yeah, go get yourself a little bit of Matic at the MumbaiFaucet.com, and then go get yourself a little bit of Test Ethereum at GoerliFaucet.com. Did you guys know about these two?
I didn't know about these specific ones, but I have a great faucet that's wonderful. If anyone wants to DM me it, I could dig up the link. I haven't used it for a while, but a few months ago, I was testing a project. We were deploying a fork of the Board ENS Yacht Club contract, which is a subdomain digit rarity project on Goerli testnet, right? And so we had the claim interface there. And the way that it was set up was it was gated by the digit club, you know what I mean, by the 100K club. So when you connect to the app, the DApp, you have to bring up a list of any 5 digits you have. So you need to have 5-digit testnet in order to test the testnet, right? So I started minting digits on the testnet naturally, and of course I was like, 5 zeros or whatever. Oh, taken. And I was like, damn, somebody's been minting digits on the testnet. And I was like, what? And I started checking all the 5 of a kinds are taken. A lot of the real, bangers were taken. And I found a couple goodies that were available. I was like, all right, I'm going to sit in front of this faucet for a while until I got some ETH. I scraped up like a few ETH. I started registering some 3-digit numbers. I've got like 50 3-digit numbers registered on the testnet for like 2 years, 3 years. Anyway, I just want to tell you guys that because
it's something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not costing you real Ethereum, so.
I also have Satoshi Nakamoto.eth on Goerli, so yeah. Yeah,
that's fun. Just please, for the love of God, don't make anyone start a Goerli ENS club. Could you imagine?
So ridiculous, but just to know that the experience was really educational. Because in a way there is some effect, Gary, of like when you kind of like get in your head, you want to register something.
Are you using the wrapper? Holy shit, we should do that maybe Wednesday or whenever. We should go in the Goerli testnet and be testing the wrapper, man.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Let's do that live stream on Wednesday, if not sooner.
Certain apps don't let you screw with it, which is unfortunate. But like, yeah, when I try to connect ENS Vision to the testnet and stuff, like the app won't let you. You know what I mean? It's not authorized to let you play.
They might not have a testnet version. I think they have to specifically like set that up.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the time tonight. I don't know if we're gonna wrap up soon, but I feel like Coree's.
Thanks for all the useful feedback I can ponder on. And
that was really calm, but I'm more knowledgeable about so much because of the the back and forth between you guys. So that was really cool to listen.
Yeah, man.
Write more code.
Yeah, keep us up.
Once you have to like polish it almost all the way end to end before you can like make a picture or something good enough to put on the Twitter. So I think once I start tweeting about it, it'll mean I'm somewhat close. But I do have like a mint site, and I got it working with the render. I'll tell you what I have to fix is
And what's the story? Is there a story behind them? Like, forget about the code. What's the story? Is there a story behind them? What planet are they from? What's the background? Did like their planet blow up and now they're like arriving on Earth? What's going on?
How many varieties of hair color? I like those hair colors. I'm looking for more hair color varieties.
Yeah,
once I drew the hair is when I knew I could probably do the project. I was like, that hair looks really good. I was like, I could probably do this. I don't have a background or a narrative. I thought maybe people might invent their own, I suppose, or plug and play. But the thing I just wanted to say was related to code is I have to rewrite the way I store the layers so I make it like smarter. Like I don't store the entire 32 by 32 file for the eyes. I just like store a couple of bytes for what the eyes like and then smartly render it. Otherwise, it's going to cost me thousands and thousands of dollars to upload all the art. So this is that's probably my last, I think, hard thing on the technology side. And then the marketing, which I've clearly never done based on our conversation. So that'll be the next fun. But I think that'll be a new challenge once I turn my brain on to marketing.
Yeah. Well, are you going to be expanding your team? Or you're going to keep yourself solo through the whole thing?
Well, I can't really afford to expand the team. So, but if people mint it, then I would like to pay for some art. And I'd like to see, there's a few directions I could see it going. One is I have the sprite sheets, so we could see what we go in that direction. There's like the on-chain direction. There's like JavaScript helper games or something, or like a little place you could walk around on that has to be built. There's also like the ENS style where you could have like properties that you write and read for your avatar. So like your ENS name has a com.twitter. Your avatar could have a com.twitter field. And so just kind of mimicking that design pattern, that's kind of on my radar.
Are they going to have subdomains using an ENS name?
It's not really a name structure. It's more like just the key value store.
Number?
I wasn't intending to copy the hierarchical system. I'm not really. I suppose you could maybe do that, but that would probably be something different. No, specifically just like the key value properties.
Like 1234.projectname.eth.
I mean, this is. Oh, I understand where you're coming from. Yes, that would be cool. I don't own OpenAvatar.eth. I own OpenAvatar NFT.eth. So I'd probably see if I could make some money and then make a bid on that. And then if I got like the nice domain, I'd probably be motivated then to do something like that and write the proxy resolver that can do the indirection and do that. Someone somewhere must have code. I should be able to just like copy someone's code. I don't know. Someone must have written that by now.
Well, my advice to you, and it's not worth anything much, but I would put a lowball bid on the names that you want, because we're in the bear market and you don't know. Someone might like drop like whatever 0.2 or whatever you think is a low bid. You know, you never know.
I have a little extra information to reveal, and that is that I actually know this person. I've had a call and they know I'm working on this project. So I don't necessarily want to reveal a price right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, your advice was totally great. Yeah. So
everybody
should be
putting names they want.
Off the ideas is I want to see. I would like to, and this would cost the two ideas, the sprite sheet. That's code ideas. If I just have time, I can get those eventually out. But I would need to hire people. I want to see what the avatars look like in 3D. I thought it might be cute to render them in 3D, and then I have no idea how to get 3D on chain. That's probably like years down the line when they have more technology and L2s and stuff. But you can download a 3D model. Maybe you can do that with your MeBits. So I think that might be interesting. I actually know a toy manufacturer who wants to manufacture them as toys. Cool. Which I have to spend time on and think about. So all these little things, and like I'm also
it's a lot of work, man. Be careful you don't give yourself too much.
Yeah, so this is why I have to balance it out, and then
I just learned who has. I was just brokering for you on your behalf, Corey, and I just learned who has Open Avatar and how long it's registered for, and I know this person as well. Be curious to talk with you offline about how that conversation went, and if you think there's any chance of it moving, because he's a homie, so we might be able to do something there.
He seemed nice, and he seemed to like my idea. So I think if I appealed to his personality, but he also seemed to be working on somewhat similar ideas, and so if he's still working on those, then I mean, more power to him. But if he's not, or he's redirected, then I think he'd probably be interested in it. And moving on.
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation. When I talked to him last, he was kind of looking to build in that similar direction, but he's preoccupied with something more priority for him. So, it's one of those where it might be a ball that he can't juggle that he wants to kind of liquidate. So who knows? We could talk to him. But I think it's a great name. I mean, that's a strong name. It just it's something about it. It just sounds right. You know, so a lot of 2 words don't, but that one does. It's just meaningful. And what you're doing with it is quite in alignment, I think, with the ethos behind that sentiment. And so he might really appreciate that too.
Yeah. I mean, at least it would have a good home.
Yeah. That I could give comments on this too offline. But with that being said, Corey, where can people find more about your project and more about you?
Definitely. So for me would be at Coree_ETH, and for the project would be at Open Avatar NFT. Don't be, confused by the fact that Twitter isn't super active. I'm just writing code, and when the code's ready to show off, I'm going to tweet a bunch. Yep.
Very cool. And Novax?
Please find me at Novax NFT on Twitter. VAX.ETH in 0 VAX, I should say. And I'm always on Twitter. DMs are open. If you have domains you're looking to move or just ideas to build as well, please contact me if you're looking for someone to help with marketing, host spaces, and that sort of thing. It's also in my wheelhouse. So thanks for having me, Gary, tonight. And it's really cool getting to know Coree better. I didn't realize he's worked with Amazon. Didn't realize he was such a proficient developer. He is really a triple threat, like you said. So the time is well spent to just, be in your presence, learn more from you guys and what you're doing. A couple of ENS delegates right here. And when you do have to make that nuclear critical decision, hopefully, you guys are empowered to make the right choice for ENS and all mankind.
Yeah. Corey's also a pixel artist.
I feel like a little bit. I feel like I got to release the art. Then I can really be like, yeah, I'm an artist.
No, you got imposter syndrome. You're an artist. Perfection is the enemy.
I've done math and stuff for like 10 years, and I was like, I feel like I'm more of a creative, but I don't really have a way to show it. And now I do feel like I have a way to show it. So I do have a sense of fulfillment already, which is a little dangerous because I have to make sure I push forward and launch the project.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The curse of getting 90% done. You got to follow through and push live. But Corey, thanks so much for hanging out. Novax, thanks so much for hanging out. Everyone, thanks so much for hanging out with us. And yeah, we'll do this again and we'll talk about more. We'll definitely get some updates on Coree's project and a lot of other different projects. And I'm Gary Palmer Jr. .eth, you're you. And until next time and in between together, we are